and but it worked out for the best. They're happy, I'm happy, and I'm happy with my relationship with my fiance Giovanna, and they're happy. They're very much in love, and we all get along well now. And all of our kids, when my kids are with their kids, I take care of them, and when their kids are with them, they take care of my kids, and so it's kind of a big family now, to be honest with you.
Were you surprised when China came in? Was that a surprise to you?
Yeah, I didn't know about that till about 2 days before the pay-per-view. We were going to use this other woman that was 7 foot tall.
Oh, the one from Tough Enough, was it?
Yes, yeah. And she looked incredible. But it changed up due to so many people found out that this girl was going to be brought in that we kind of wanted to mix it up and shock people. And so we brought in China, and I asked Dixie Carter, we probably need to keep this girl. She's in a good place in her life. She's healthy. She looks good. She speaks well. Even if we don't use her for wrestling all the time, she'd be a great ambassador because, my fiance's not a wrestling fan by any means. And when she found out China was going to be wrestling, she's like, "Can I order the pay-per-view?" I said, "Yeah, you could," because it was China. I mean,
let's get a discount, Kurt. You're not get a discount.
I'll get you a coupon code.
So it just goes to show you that there was a whole new demographic of fans that wanted to see China wrestle, and I think having her a part of TNA was huge because when she was in WWE, WWF at the time, she was one of the hottest characters on the show without a doubt, and she will always be remembered as that, and people have a lot of respect for her, and I do too, and I just loved having her on, her being with me. It was a great moment.
Let's talk about Awesome Kong, or Karma, as she's called now. Signed to WWE, got the dream job.
Yep.
Gets pregnant.
I didn't know that.
Really, that's it. So she comes in. Is
that why she cried?
Yeah, she's running over the divas, every week, and they go, "I've not seen divas for 10 years have a decent division."
Right.
She's pregnant, so she cried, and then this week she's announced she's pregnant and she's off television.
And she actually spoke on TV, which I don't think she's ever done before. So they had her do an in-ring interview and say that she was pregnant. She said that she'd been following her dream and she'd finally got there and stuff, but her other dream was to be a mother, and they had the Bella twins come out and have a bit of an interaction. So they basically left her as a baby face, and she said she'll be back in about a year or so.
I think she may have pissed off a few people.
Oh my God.
The biggest push of a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we got her.
And that's not like the company up there. Vince McMahon doesn't look for a person like Kong. He looks for that diva-looking girl. And that's why the wrestling hasn't been as good, is because they're out for looks and not wrestling technique.
Well, look, Gail Kim, I've never seen on the TV for a year. Gail Kim and Beth Phoenix.
And she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and the thing is, in TNA, our knockouts division is great, and we need to get back to it because when they are on, our ratings go up. We have a lot of female wrestlers that are great. I'm sorry?
You had the main event with Gail Kim on the pay-per-view and Kong. Which has never been done before.
Which has never been done. That's right. It only happened in TNA. And I'm telling you, the girls that we have down there are so good. And, they're the kind of girls that they're pretty, but their wrestling skills supersede their beauty. Now, they might not be 12s out of 10. They might be 10 or 9 out of 10. But for WWE, they didn't quite make the beauty list of the top 15 girls they wanted, so they let go of the girls with the wrestling skills. And it was like, great, bring them down here. Let's make the knockout division, because these girls are good. They're really good. They're great wrestlers. So I thought we have an advantage over WWE with the women wrestlers.
The one knockout that's so far announced for the tour, there's going to be more, I'm sure, as time goes on, is someone that you've been working with just lately a bit on TV, and she's got about 46 different angles going on, Velvet Sky.
Yeah.
Word for her?
We're putting the rocket under her. She has a look. Her wrestling skills have improved 1,000,000%. She was an okay wrestler that was gorgeous, and now she's a good wrestler, solid. She's ready for the title. She's never held it. Now it's her time. So I think Velvet has worked on her wrestling skills so much this past couple of years, and I'll never forget, I said something in front of Angelina when Velvet was there. I just said, listen, you're there, Angelina, but your partner and I know Velvet would stand next to her. I said, your partner needs a lot of work. And she got upset and walked away. I didn't know she was there. So the next day I apologized to her, and I said, listen, what I meant was, you need a lot of work. That you have the ability to be good, to be great, to be awesome, but you got to work on it. You can't just sit around all day and not do anything and go out and wrestle. Get in that ring and practice. And she started doing it, and 2 years later, her skills are she's not the best wrestler on our roster, but she's 1,000 times better than she was 2 years ago, and that's very important because she has the look to go above and beyond wrestling. She does. She's beautiful.
Part of the beautiful people. Lacey Von Erich was there. Couldn't work a lick, but again, that we go back to she's there. She's absolutely stunning.
Oh gosh, yeah. You should see her in person. Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And she just could not quite get the wrestling aspect, and and that's what our Knockouts division's all about, is wrestling, not beauty, but wrestling. No matter how pretty they are, wrestling stands out, and that's what we're about. We are about wrestling. So if you can't wrestle, you're not going to have a job there.
We were talking in the pub last night about when you arrived at TNA, and we talked
about
this
we were talking in a business meeting. We weren't talking in the pub.
Having a business meeting, talking about when you arrived at TNA. Yeah, and we talked about when you arrived, and the fact that it was a big surprise, which done so well. We don't get surprises anymore. Since that, you were still the biggest surprise or the biggest impact that has happened on TNA. Because what I see, and this may be a criticism of the company or maybe not, and it might be licking your ass, but it's a case of you bring Hogan in and it's like, I've got to watch this, got to watch it, and I sort of go, yeah, I've done that. Eric Bischoff, I think, is a phenomenal performer,
right?
And I think I've seen it, I've done it. Anybody they bring in, I get bored quite quickly.
Thank God it all happened at the right time. TNA was struggling when they brought me in. They took a chance, paid me a heck of a lot of money, a bunch of money to come in. So they were really taking a chance. And the thing is, the stars were all in line, the planets were all in line, and they went from 1 hour on Spike to 2 hours right after I signed. They said, Kurt Angle, we'll give you 2 hours, and then, we only have 20 house shows. Now we have 125 house shows. So the whole company just kind of took a huge leap, and I have to give credit to a lot of the other wrestlers, not just me, but I was kind of I was the launching pad of TNA exploding into another level, and I'm very proud of it. But it wasn't just me; it was a bunch of these guys that coming together that made the product great. Samoa Joe, my angle with him, my angle with AJ Styles, it made it more intriguing. And I'm not going to single-handedly take the credit, but when I started is when the company really started to explode. And then after that, it was just icing on the cake. Hogan coming in was great. But you're right. I mean, he really couldn't do anything in the ring anymore. Eric Bischoff, you've seen him do it before. He's a great performer. So there wasn't as big of an impact because there wasn't anybody that was able to back up what they were able to do prior to that, like Hulk Hogan being in the ring. Even when he came back in the WWE, he couldn't do much, but him getting in the ring wrestling, I had a match with him at King of the Ring that was great. Yeah. It was hilarious. It was when I wear the
fake hat.
With
the Rick Steiner thing.
Yeah, with the headgear.
Yeah.
So, if Hogan could have still wrestled, I think he would have been the biggest deal in TNA, but he can't. So, I think he's done the best he can. The cool thing about Terry right now, the fact that Hulk Hogan is a much better writer, booker, helm of the company by looking from the outside in instead of booking himself inside now he knows I can't be the guy. Who do I need to go to? What guys do we need to push? And he's really good. He has a great mind. He's just about as good, if not better, than Vince McMahon at it. So he has the aspect of, all right, now I have to figure out who is going to be the next Hulk Hogan, who's going to be the next Kurt Angle, who's going to be the next AJ Styles. And he's very good at picking certain guys that he wants. And in the near future, you're going to see a lot of different changes. And what we're going to try to do is, we have been pushing former WWE talent like the Hardys and Anderson and the Pope. Now we're trying to get homegrown talent like Crimson. We're trying to push him up. Matt Morgan, that never really made it in WWE but came here, so he's kind of TNA homegrown talent. Amazing Red, we're putting the mask on him. We're making him a Mexican lucha libre wrestler. He had a great match with Christopher Daniels 3 weeks ago. So now we're getting these new talent, and we're starting to utilize these guys, and we're making TNA homegrown talent rather than just taking from WWE and saying, hey, we'll take who's the next person? Maybe Randy Orton, if he would come over, and it would just be another WWE talent. And that we have enough of those right now. Now we need to start growing our own talent.
For Kurt Angle, then, who gets a stamp of approval in 2 years' time when you're back here? Who do we look out for in 2 years' time that's going to be the big thing in TNA?
Robert Roode, James Storm, as singles wrestlers.
Yeah. I think Robert Roode's.
Yeah, I think he will be the best wrestler in the industry in 2 years.
Yeah.
I also look at looking at Matt Morgan making the leap, Crimson, who we've been really trying to push lately, a former soldier that was that he was over in Iraq for a couple of different tours for the military. He's going to be a big star soon. We're really trying to re-innovate guys like Abyss. We're starting to get Joe back in the picture. He's been on the back burner for so long.
Great talent.
AJ Styles, who we thought was there as like the star of TNA, we kind of pulled back on him, and now we're starting to get him back in the limelight again. But there are so many talented Motor City Machine Guns. I would love to have singles matches with these guys.
Saban's out for
the
end of the year.
Well, then put Alex Shelley against me. I would love to go with him. So there are so many talent that I haven't touched yet that I can't wait to get in the ring with.
If we could go back to the tour, if you haven't seen the dates, it's Thursday, Friday and Saturday, 26th, 27th of January in Nottingham, Manchester and London respectively. Tickets available on TNAWrestling.com and on the TNA Wrestling UK Facebook page. 3 names that stand out to me: yourself, AJ and Joe, none of which came on the tour for various reasons last year.
Right.
So there's a lot of hell of a good workers on this tour.
Well, you're right, and I'll tell you what, the one guy that stepped up lately that used to be a tag wrestler for Team 3D is Bully Ray. His character is so good right now. I love watching him on TV. That's who AJ's been feuding with, and we're going to start seeing him as a main event wrestler, possibly a future champion. And he's lost about 70 pounds. He's taken his character very seriously.
He's been with Angle Foods.
Yeah, right. He's been taking Angle Foods. God bless him. No, he's great. God bless him. He's a great performer. He's always been a little bit overweight. Now he's got himself down. He's always been somewhat of a bully anyway, so he kind of uses his own personality. But he's a guy to keep an eye on him, because I see him being at the helm of the company in the next year or so.
The rumours are that it's going to be Sting and Angle main event. Would that be true?
That is what I'm hoping. They have not said what the card is, but at least we know both of us are going to be there. I would love to main event with Sting. I haven't wrestled Sting in 2 years. Me and Sting have great chemistry, and the guy's an icon. He's one of those guys I put up there with Macho Man and Hulk Hogan as being one of the faces of wrestling that you will always remember.
From your point of view, just get into Sting, 'cause I know you're a big fan yourself and have a lot of respect for him. How much do you think was true when Vince wanted him to come to WrestleMania this past year?
Oh, you know what? I thought he did.
Yeah,
I thought he did. I even texted him and said, Sting, 2 things. You do a great job at WrestleMania. I said, number 2, just watch out for yourself up there. Because you see in the past that WCW wrestlers have gone up there and they've kind of been pushed down to the
DDP and Goldberg.
Yeah. And, I didn't want to see that happen to Sting. Not that Vince McMahon would do that to him.
I think he would.
Well, you never know, and that's the whole point. Is Sting will never go back. But when I saw that pre-tape of a Crow, I went, oh no, Sting's going. And then 2 weeks later, he was at TV's with us, and I'm like, what are you doing here? I thought you were WWE. He's like, are you kidding me? I'd never go back. I told you I'd never go back. I said, well, I thought they were going to give you a big paycheck and put you in the Hall of Fame. But Sting stuck to his word. He's never going back.
There's pretty much everyone on this tour that you could actually work. I mean, I'd love to see Joe and AJ live.
Oh, gosh. You know what? With Joe and I, it gets so physical that if we worked the whole week, besides UK and England and the other countries, him and I would be so sore after the after.
You've both got a stiff style. I'll say that.
We do. We're very snug, and we do that to each other. And him and I have had some battles now. AJ's a little more finesse guy, and he can fly around a little bit more. I have some great chemistry with him, and I had a great match with him at Wembley, I believe 2 years ago. We went about 35 minutes. It was incredible. But my sights are really on either Sting or Mr. Anderson. I'd really like to do something new, because I have wrestled Joe over in the UK. I have wrestled AJ. I have not wrestled Sting or Mr. Anderson over here, and I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Kurt, as always, it's honor to have you in here.
Thank you, guys.
The reason I choose to wrestle here at Impact Wrestling is because I see this company growing very quickly. I want to be the leader of a company that is going to make history.